After what the European Union and China said today, things are going to get really crazy with XRP. That's the reason I'm making this video, because we all know that every day is a complete roller coaster. I want to give you the newest, best, and maybe even worst news that is going around. Let's start with the European Union. They want US taxes to stay in place since talks are coming to a standstill. Trump has said that they are making great work on tariffs, but the European Union thinks that these tariffs will not be going away anytime soon because they can't really come to an agreement. It's very interesting what the European Union says now. They've pretty much said that Trump doesn't want to make a deal, and that the tariffs were just an excuse to put them in place, which is very interesting given what Trump has been saying. Please tell me what you think below. I know that Trump doesn't want inflation to rise, at least in the short term, so if this goes on for too long, it will have a huge effect on it. The S&P 500 has also gone down since the EU said tariffs will stay in place and talks about them haven't made much progress. There were some pretty big changes in the S&P, which went from almost 5,500 below to 54. There's no doubt that this will have a pretty big effect on the trading markets for both the S&P 500 and cryptocurrency. XRP was selling very close to $2.20, and after this news came out there was a pretty big drop. There weren't any crazy drops of 30% in one day, but the stock was down a couple of percentage points, which is still something that should be looked at. The next thing I see as the granite cracking is sales of single-family homes in a strong market. I usually use this measure to figure out where the economy is likely to go in the future, because it is very likely to be the most important one. This means that there are a lot more new lists of homes, but sales are either slowing down or staying the same. This is a scary sign that the housing market is about to crash. So this is what we see now. By the way, when the housing market crashes, that's probably the bottom of the market. It's a great time to buy right after that. It looks like there are now 500,000 new single-family houses for sale. This is the most since November 2007, when there were 400,000. Yes, that was an interesting time that I think a lot of you will remember. As you may remember, the market was just about to reach its peak in 2007. Shortly after the new home statistics came out, the banks quickly began to fail. It looks like the banks are under the same kind of stress today. There will need to be stimulus, quantitative easing, and bank bailouts if this keeps up, since more and more people are not paying their debts and are trying to sell their homes because they can't afford to pay them anymore. The number of new homes on the market has more than tripled since 2004. 13 years ago there were only 142,000 new homes for sale, which was a very strong market. As of now, there are more new houses on the market than at any time since the housing bubble in 2006. New single-family houses for sale in the South dropped by 8,000 to 296,000, which is close to an all-time high. There were 291,000 in 2006, the year before the home market crash. This is more than that. Are home prices going to go down soon? I think they will be, though. It seems like the Fed should start making money soon, which is why Trump is pleading with the Fed to act so urgently. But the Fed uses information that is about 3 months old. This method is very old and doesn't work with today's fast-paced economies. There is no doubt that something needs to change. But it's clear that China's messages are becoming much more hostile toward the United States. In fact, this is what I'm paying the most attention to. The most recent thing China said about the US was that it has no shame. Plus they say the tariff war will fail soon. To put it simply, China is saying, hey, listen up. The US needs us a lot more than we need the US. We have been selling goods made in our country to the US for tens of years. And listen, it's okay if you guys no longer want to buy our stuff. You'll enjoy higher prices which you can't pay for now because your economy is about to crash. That's not exactly what was said. Most of what Chinese President Xi Jinping has been saying lately is pretty much the same. In essence, they're saying that our economy is going through decline right now. Prices are going up for you guys, and they will get even worse if we keep going like this. I don't know what Trump has planned for inflation yet. I think Trump is going to surprise me again. Inflation rates went down after the first couple of times he put taxes on other countries, which was one of the things that surprised me about him. So maybe he's making plans for something here. Maybe he's going to pass an executive order that will cap prices or something. It's possible that he has a deal with these big businesses that lets them avoid many of these price hikes and keep prices low for customers. I'm not sure. But if you guys have more to say about that, please let me know in the comments. Looking forward to reading your answers on that, because I believe that inflation is going to happen because of the way Trump is running things right now. There will be inflation unless something else goes wrong. The United States is still not able to make things. They need some time. I also think it's great that manufacturing is coming back to the United States. But yeah, that short-term pain hasn't been seen much outside of the stock market yet. That's why I want to know when prices will begin to shift. Do you mind paying more if it means you won't be able to do business with China? One more thing I really need to hear from you. Now, using cryptocurrency is one possible plan that the Trump government has. So one thing the Trump government said recently is that they might use tariff money to buy Bitcoin. Very interesting. That's why they want customs to be used instead of income tax. That's one thing Trump has said. They also want to possibly buy cryptocurrency with money from tariffs. I'd like to play this clip for you guys quickly because I believe it is one of the most interesting things that has come to our attention lately. Anyhow, let me play this video. But I've also heard Nick and others talk about the idea that maybe we can bring in money from outside sources and use that. So how are you guys maybe thinking about, okay, what are the ways we could go buy more Bitcoin from a framework point of view? I think Senator Lemus has a great idea with the Bitcoin Act of 2025. I know it's been a big hit with the public, but what you would do is revalue the gold certificates that are currently in the Treasury. Most of them are worth about $43 an ounce, which is a lot less than what they're really worth. Yes, that's right. The price of gold right now is what, $3,100 an ounce. You could use that extra money to buy more Bitcoin that could be used for the reserve if you took that amount. That's just one thought though. You know that's going around right now. It goes all the way to Capitol Hill. Let's see how many co-sponsors she can get and how she can get her co-workers on board. There are, however, a lot of clever ways that we can do this, whether they come from tariffs or something else. There are literally a million different ways to do this. I will let some of our people in the interagency working group come up with ideas in their own offices. We will look at everything though. There is everything on the table. We already said that we want everything that's out there. That's what we're going to do. As we start to clean up some of these processes, we are leaving no stone left. Very interesting. Now we're moving away from internal revenue sources like income tax and toward external revenue sources like trade with other countries and getting money from them to make more money and maybe even buy Bitcoin. I believe that cryptocurrencies will be very important in this, and I also believe that AI will be very important in the future. I think what the Trump administration is really thinking is that they're going to use AI to automate as much as they can and try to make the country as productive as possible by using AI. That way they won't need as many manufacturing jobs overseas and other things. I believe the bandage is being taken off a little too quickly and too early, but this is the future. I don't think that every country will depend on each other when all the big companies can make their things in the US and most of the work is done by machines. Sure, those machines will create a lot of new jobs in the United States. These will be good jobs that